Hello and welcome to Chess with Simon. I'm Simon. We're going to look at a really interesting game against Stuart, which he won beautifully. I mean, he timed out, but because he's in Panama with no internet access, but he won this beautifully. He had a forced mate on the board and he knew it. Kind of in four stages. So the first is a kind of theoretical stage that's very sensible. Queen's in your defence. Stuart plays knight c3, which sort of means we can head towards a Nimzo. I played bishop b7, basically to control the e4 square to stop white playing e4. White stops me playing bishop b4, so then you play d5, just keeping that control of e4. You can take with a knight here. We exchange the knight, and then the c5 break's really important, just to free the pieces and put some pressure on the white centre. White does get the chance to get e4 in, but because some minor pieces have been swapped off, this move isn't as dangerous as it looks. We develop the knight, put the rook opposite the queen, that's all very sensible. Develop the bishop, white castles, black castles. This move is the end of theory. So this move is not theoretical. The bishop usually goes on b2, as we can see from the database. But this is a good move. And then my idea behind knight f6 was really just to put pressure on the e4 pawn. And actually, after a move like bishop d2, white's still better, but actually e5 pushes my knight to a really nice square, and now we go through a phase where black actually has the advantage. So hitting the bishop and the c3 pawn, bishop d2 looks natural. The computer approves of the exchange, but the computer wants to play knight c3 here, which really didn't enter into my head. I mean, I just thought my pieces are well placed, the centre is contained, the pawn on d4 is backward. You know, it just felt like it was all going really well here, but I blundered so badly. Look at the blunder here. That is absolutely colossal. So something like queen d7 or, would have been fine according to the engine, would have been great. And this was just an oversight. And actually, the minute I saw this, I knew I'd lost. It's fascinating. I just thought this game's gone. And it's like, yeah, there's f5. We looked at this, and f5 is actually the second choice. There's f5, but black gets really mullered because so f5 takes. I was actually looking at rook takes here, just to stop white taking on e6, but that's kind of catastrophic. Like this, for instance, and then the knight. So, I mean, f5 doesn't kind of work because when they take en passant, which they always should do, whatever you take with, something awful happens. I mean, I just assumed the queen took here with check, but actually looks like the rook's coming to e1 is even stronger. But can't the queen just take it with check? I mean, it's all winning, right? So this was awful, and in my defence, I found the best defence, which was to give up a pawn, but it's still +4 to white, it's just gone. This was a good move. This was a good move. Queen g4 looks really bad for black. I mean, I was looking at moves like this, which I assume, okay, knight g5 is a better move. I assume this would be the killer. Well, it's still a killer. Everything's a killer because, black's position just collapsed, which I think is less likely to happen in purely classical openings, like the Queen's Gambit declined. The Queen's Indian is sort of solid, but still, if you're inaccurate, it can go quite quickly because you've given up a space advantage. Well, I've also given up a pawn. So here, I got this move right. This was the computer's best. I mean, it's still gone, but it's the computer's best. And now the computer's best is bishop d2, which I think would be hard to find. Stuart plays a brilliant move, actually sacrificing two pieces, which is an incredible thing to find, actually. I mean, would I have found... No, I don't think I'd have found that move, knight g5. That's a really artistic move. So the point is, I just thought, oh, I'll have a piece, which makes it worse. I just take the piece, and then sack here. I took this as well. I think this is about where it timed out. But the point is, there's a check here, then the king goes here. There's a check here, king has to go here. You take here, here, check, I mean, there's different ways of doing this, but basically, if you go here, check, here, check, here, check. So really beautiful. And what do we learn from this? Well, don't make mistakes is one thing we learn from this. But actually, one of the hard things in chess is to know when to do nothing. And here I got this desire to do something. I mean, the point is that what this really does is weaken, well, it weakens g6 because the pawn is no longer defending it from h7. But of course it also weakens h6 when you play g6. And in any analysis, you should check setting up that battery, because of course another thing that's going on here is the knight can't go to f6. So, well played, Stuart. Great game. Unfair that you lost on time, but not really material because you won. You know, it's just like, it's not that important really. Yeah, and hope to play more in the future when you're back. And you're travelling for a while, but when you're back from Panama. Look at this against Horde coach. We're just going to look at this one. So this happened. Push. Took here, took here, took here. So now we've just got a king and a queen. So here we had to defend. We had to cover c8. So you're either playing queen c3 or you're playing this move. Or you're playing this move. King e7. So now that stops the pawn queening, but you know the pawns are coming. So I played here, which I think white has to play pawn d6 here. So this is the current position. I think white's winning this. I mean, so there, I assume we take. Now, if only there were time for white to get the king to d7 and get the queen around to mop up, black might win this. But let's just see what happens. So there, king d7. Now white has to... I don't know. Is this going to work? This... I feel like I don't know. I need to be coached by Horde coach. I mean, can black hold back the tide? Now here you can't push, but you can push like this. It's going to be touch and go, and I don't think I've got all of these variations right. Where we are is after we're here. So I assume we're going to see this. I assume I'm going to take that. And then you either have the king on d7 guarding the back rank, and then the queen can try to stop the rest. Or you have the queen guarding the back rank, and then the king can try and stop the best. I think both of them might have some kind of chance. But my instinct is maybe white's winning here, but perhaps that's just about respect. And perhaps objectively, is it? I'm not sure objectively is the honest truth of what's going on. I'm not sure objectively. Okay, I'm going to stop there for tonight. So I'm going to say well done, Stuart, and very interesting Horde coach. See you soon.